But boom. Moving forward with this series of players uncovered. Again, kind of like the green one, this player might not be unknown, but there were a couple requests for them, so I thought, might as well. Might as well cover them. They've been on Logic Stream a few times in high-profile games in the finals of various tournaments and whatnot. A couple best of sevens there, too. Cool player. I actually haven't gotten to play against Pantalonnade much, so I think I said their name, but ODM Pantalonnade, also known as Fanta Lemonade, also on Logic's channel. Current rank, Platinum. Factions, for once we're seeing a Dwarf in there, that's pretty good. And Bretonia, 2 rare sites. Dark Elves, Beastmen, been seeing a lot of them in these profiles just because the meta right now is very strong with those factions. Strength, it's a weird one to explain. Poker Face, and then Fight Awareness. Suggestions, Rallying Units. I guess if you're a Dwarf main, you're not that used to looking for units rallying. They just never break in the first place. First replay they sent, Dark Elves versus Even Stars Vampire Counts. Pretty heavy kite build. Pretty extreme. I mean, if it works, it works. So Even Stars got his pretty usual 4 Vargeists, Manfred, double White King, and then a bunch of random chaff, including some... I guess there are some great swords back there, but... Immediate Gaze in the Gash is going to poke Marathi a little bit. Okay. On with some skirmishing. Double Scab's Grace took some health out of Black Ark Corsairs with handbows. Now, Black Ark Corsairs with handbows will do decently against the White King and these Direwolves. Some Coldon Knights are coming over, and they're going to rout off the Direwolves. But they don't commit to the White King, and I think that's like a good thing. And that's kind of what I meant with Fight Awareness. Would be not like the battle as a whole. I mean, he also has pretty good battle as a whole awareness, but he realizes that clumping up on this White King isn't going to do very much, and Black Ark Corsairs with handbows can handle most of this. And on the far side, we do have some Coldon Knights getting a lot of damage on an isolated White King and fighting Vargeist as well. But there's also some skirmish coming in there and a Soul Stealer, so that's a good, nice blob attack. Then with 2 Vargeists coming in for the Black Ark Corsairs, and big thing is Manfred von Karstein. The Coldon Knights, since they didn't commit to the White King, are free to just run away, not take any damage there, and sacrifice 1 Black Ark Corsair. While this engagement was going so well for them, I mean, they did take out a lot of stuff for the cost of a Coldon Knight's health. And then, here, since they didn't commit to saving these handbows, an opportunity presented itself when his opponent's micro was elsewhere, pulling off these Vargeists, pulling forward his Graveguard, using these Vargeists to help out this White King, etc., etc. Manfred overextended a little bit. Now he gets surrounded, and Coldon Knights runs Dark Riders in to box him in further, and now there's a bunch of skirmish units with armor-piercing missiles trying to take him down. So that's kind of what I meant by Poker Face, is just waiting and not taking the okay engagement that's in front of you that might go your way, it might not. It seems like Panta spends a lot of his time in a game waiting for the right moment and then fully committing. So that's a good start. I mean, ton of damage onto Manfred, gonna waste healing on himself, his healing cap's already within sight, that kind of thing. Other than that, we're going to see these Dark Riders with Pure Crossbows stay online this entire game. Some Coldon Knights are sacrificed, and again, I mean, not a lot you can do. You got to make trades in this matchup. It's impossible to keep everything safe. Marathi's helping with the kite, a lot of kiting, but you can see all 4 Dark Riders with Pure Crossbows are extremely healthy at this point in the game, which is kind of nuts. And these Scourge Under Chariots are running around, just distracting a lot of things before the Repeater Crossbows come in to help out. Black Ark Corsair is going to be sacrificed instead of the Repeater Crossbows. They are still decent melee infantry, like their Black Ark Corsair with dual weapons variant. But very good asset control from Panta. I forgot there was a routing unit I wanted to talk about, but it's gone. There will be other opportunities. And now we just watch the slow kiting death of the vampire counts. Panta gets rid of 1 unit at a time as he has to, letting them get slowly sacrificed as he capitalizes on other areas. This lord here, Manfred, is about to crumble away to nothing. Without that, it'll be a long, slow death for the vampire counts without their lord. 11 leadership in the distance. Just has to sit there, a lot of running around, a lot of kiting, yada yada. And Marathi goes and finishes off Manfred real quick, and that is the beginning of the end for Evenstar. Boom. So it's good. Good stuff. You'll love to see it. That's a hard build to micro, especially with 4 Vargeists running around. And he pulled it off. quite effectively. Second game. I mean, Beastmen versus Dwarves. Seeing a lot of this recently, and strangely enough, the Dwarves are actually coming out more on top than not. What is that? Malagor? Okay. So you have 2 cannons, some thunderers, some Midas Blast charges, and giant slayers. Now here you'll see a lot of that, like, poker face, kind of, but also just recognizing what's going on in a fight and what's going to win and what isn't going to win. Just using giant slayers on the Jabberslythe and not overcommitting with Belagar and Dragonback Slayers and like everything. I know I tend to do that where I'll blob up too many units on one thing as I get a little distracted. Just sends the one unit he needs to after it. After the Jabberslythe gets away, resumes his position in the middle of the formation, probably going to, go after the Jabberslythe as soon as it gets another target. Over here, we have some Slayers on top of the Feral Manticore. Doesn't need the guns. That is a big thing that I would normally... I'm not saying this is correct, I'm saying this is what I do. I'm like, kill the Manticore, do it! But he's very aware that the Slayers can win that fight handedly without the Thunderers. Thunderers' time is better spelled elsewhere, so that is very nice. And that was... where I talked about the poker face, what I meant by the fight awareness is just knowing the limits of your units and knowing what can win what fight, what needs help, what doesn't, and not overcommitting too many resources to already a one thing. Manticore and Malagor over here fighting, but Belagar is going to push off one, if not both of them, pretty soon. Cannons are back online, shooting at, I don't know, something in here. Thunderers get shut down by the piggies, but Slayers will mop that up. I do think the Dwarves are going to be in pretty good shape here. Cannons juggling online, offline, online, offline. Malagor flying overhead. A little behind in the balance of power for the Beastmen, and Malagor's not exactly a great melee combatant, so in the late game, if everybody's this wounded, he can't carry, and the Dwarves will persevere. There's a little bit of what I'm talking about. I was going to mention it in the third game. It's much more obvious that I can talk about it, but one point of improvement would be rallying units micro, which is hard. I mean, I'm not good at it either. But it does feel sometimes that when Panta's units come back, they stand around for quite a while before he realizes they exist. Or at least in the 3 replays he sent me, that was true. In the previous one, I missed it, but there was a Dark Rider that came back and stood around for a little bit before Vargas caught him. And last game, Bretonnia versus Dark Elves. And Zyphos. Nice little build. Taking Lewin instead of the Fae is a little ballsy, especially if they go Blackguard. Blackguard can kind of withstand Lewin indefinitely. So here again, we'll see a little bit of what we did with the Vampire Counts matchup. He's going to sacrifice 1 peasant at a time, which in the previous thing it was Blackheart Corsair, so it's a little different. But he's just using his 100 gold peasants. He doesn't care about them, while his archers are going to shoot at things he actually does care about. And if the Scourge Runners get a little overzealous, you saw these knights think about running up here. Battle Pilgrims are also running out. And the Peasant Bowmen are going to get a nice little poke on the Scourge Runner chariots, all for the cost of a 100 gold peasant not even dying, but just being probably terror-routed in about a minute. But archers are getting their due. Especially against Dark Elves, this skill is good. Knowing how many assets you have to send into something. So with 2 assassins here, each have Web of Shadows and then Marathis in the distance with Soul Stealer. He's being very, very careful to only send in the minimum amount of assets to win a fight or to get the desired outcome without overcommitting and blobbing and getting, AoE down. So again, peasants getting run over by Scourge Runner chariots. When they do, the knights are going to pull up. The entire point is to keep the Scourge Runners off of the archers. Other than that, you don't really care. Lewin and the Paladin are going to start fighting a Manticore, get 1 or 2 free little hits, and back off before the Assassins get underneath them and cast a Web of Shadows, or throw Shurikens up into them. And right now, the Scourge Runners are also having a hard time shooting anything they want to shoot at. They don't want to be shooting at Peasants and Battle Pilgrims. You can see their ammo's already half, and all the Knights are still full health. That's not good. That's a tough time for the Scourge Runners, but they haven't had anything else to shoot at. Meanwhile, they're both half health, and Bretonnia's taken. That was from a Doom Bolt, so that wasn't even from the Scourge Runners, and oh no, a Peasant's at 1/3 health, Peasant's at half, and a Battle Pilgrim's at half. Now sure, you feel the Battle Pilgrim at half, I get that, but you also feel your 2 Scourge Runners at half. That's 19, wait. the 850 or the 950? I don't remember. They're over 1,500 gold, and the Battle Pilgrims plus the Peasants is almost 800. So you're fine with this trade so far. Again, Scourge Runner's going to commit to Battle Pilgrims, and as soon as they do, Knights of the Realm coming up, and as soon as they pull away, Knights of the Realm pulling back. Don't want to get dove on by Manticores, don't want to get Soul Stealer, none of that stuff. Peasant Mob's going to get routed off. Scourge Runners are feeling it, Mr. Krabs. They are feeling it from these Peasant Bowmen. It's just really good stuff from Pantalonnade, just rotating everything, making sure stuff's in position, not overcommitting. So now we finally have Lewin and the Paladin going in, fighting all this stuff with Archer support. No Knights. Knights are waiting for the Web of Shadows or Soul Stealer come out before they commit to anything. Marathi's trying to get close to Lewin and the Paladin. You can see the Knights immediately pull away, don't want to get underneath him. It's good stuff. She hasn't been able to really cast a Soul Stealer yet because there's not any good targets. Sorry for the potential epileptic shock you just suffered from that cast. And yeah, Scourge Runners are almost dead and no real fighting has happened. Now one Knight unit of these Knights of the Realm. Knights of the Realm, the anti-large, non-armor piercing, are going to commit to killing his Manticore. Lewin and the Paladin are also going to commit. They'll get Soul Stealered, but it's not a huge deal. You can see these other Knights are just standing off, waiting for their turn. And a Dwellers is even going to try and hit this Cold One Knight, but I think it's mostly going to miss. It's doing okay damage anyway, even though it's just on the barely on the tip of the model there. So with both Canadian Assassins out of position and Soul Stealer on cooldown, now you see a blob form. And whether or not a blob is a good decision, like, you know, you should ideally never blob. But I mean, it's going well and nothing's here to punish it. So it's good use of their time. Web of Shadows comes in from the Assassins. This Knights of the Realm is almost dead, but there's a Questing Knight waiting to take their place as soon as those Web of Shadows are both cast. One of which is cast. Marathi's Soul Stealer is still on cooldown for a little bit. Infantry fight is winning as Bretonia sends wave after wave of their own men at them. And now he's going to start separating out the blob. He's done a lot of damage to these Cold One Dread Knights, but he doesn't want to still be around as these Assassins are running up, trying to get a good Web of Shadows. Marathi's hanging in the back. He's going to send in one Knight at a time again. Questing Knight running in. Archer support the whole time, doing a lot of damage. Changing who's charging. Now we do have two Knight units engaged at the same time. Looks like they're trying to engage different things, but it's all one big blob. And Lewin's going to chase around. I don't know how many units that Soul Stealer hit, but it was weirdly cast onto an Archer unit. Second Web of Shadows is cast. Lewin's trying to get out of there. Knights of the Realm charging in. Where are all the rest of them? Oh, the rest of them are over here, doing other stuff. While Marathi's Soul Stealer is still on cooldown, then you'll have Knights fight Cold One Knights. They'll almost always win that. Archer's still supporting. Archer's still very healthy and supporting, which has been good. Keeping them very much alive. Keeping Marathi off of Lewin. It's an interesting little thing. You think Lewin would want to fight her, but she's spooky. And it is a matter of time until they surround and kill the last of the Dark Elves. Both the Assassins are out of Web of Shadows, and Assassins are infamously very, very squishy if you can hit them. Paladin and Lewin chase around Marathi, almost catching her, but struggling slightly with some healing getting cast in. They're going to be fine. And Knights get a rear charge. They're going to rout off all these units, and then army losses will come in. So that was some beautiful play. That was. Oh, I forgot to even look for the routing units. I remember there being some in this game. Yeah, hurry up. Get on with it. Okay, let's watch for routing things. Triple fast forward, going real fast, going real fast, ba-dum, 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 real fast, ba-dum, ba-dum. Peasants route. And then they're forgotten for a little bit. They don't come back to the front line just yet. Peasants route. Now those ones are remembered. And these guys came back, standing around for a little bit. These peasants are out. Is it super critical? No, it's just something I noticed. I mean, he's a very good player, so if he made a ton of super big, gigantic mistakes, he wouldn't be platinum, so it's not like it's going to be something I can really point out that's like, here's this critical thing that he fucks up all the time. It's like, a little bit of improvement on rallying unit micro would be good. Peasants are over here just chilling. Peasants are over here just chilling. Archers chilling for a little bit. Now they get rallied. As you can see, when something rallies, it seems like it has a little bit that it just stands around before it comes back. That'd be the one thing I would mention they could work on. That'd be about it. Alrighty, that was Pantalonnade of ODM. Look for them. Say hi if you see them. You know what I mean.